I'm Angela, and I'd like to welcome you to Mystic at Sea. Walter and I are very excited to greet all of you in just about 2 short weeks upon the Norwegian sun. Before we leave, though, we have a few extra tips that we hope you'll find helpful, and please feel free to share this information with your other attendees. The first thing I want to mention is many of us are being impacted by the grounding of the Boeing 737 planes. Please do verify your flight times to make sure that you will be landing in Orlando no later than 11 a.m. on Monday, April 15th. Once you are able to retrieve your baggage from baggage claim and then get onto the shuttle bus or your Uber, however you're choosing to get to Port Canaveral, please anticipate that the travel time from the airport to the ship could be up to 1 hour. Keep in mind, people will be departing the ships coming in as well as people boarding those going out on the same day. Just be aware. I'm going to break this up into 6 smaller segments, so we'll start with the first one, what to pack. The first thing you want to make sure you have, obviously, is your passport. The next thing that you need to do is make sure that you print out all of your Norwegian Cruise Line documents, including the one with the confirmation number for your room. This will actually be checked before you're allowed to enter the terminal to make sure that you're in the correct location. The other thing you want to make sure you print out are all of your luggage tags. Yeah, I have that the right way. You can save yourself some time by using pre-printed address labels, and then you just have to write your phone number in. As you can see, everything is color-coded. This tells the folks at the port what deck to actually deliver your luggage to. You can go all out and buy these nifty little, holders for those luggage tags, or there's actually a very easy way that you can prepare those and keep them on your luggage with packing tape. We'll have the link available for you in this email that you're receiving. The other things you want to make sure that you do is not to overpack. It's very tempting to try and bring a lot of fancy clothes. Please keep in mind, most of us in the US are just coming off of winter time. So we are definitely going to be feeling the temperature change. We're going to be close to the equator. Temperatures will be in the mid-80s throughout the day, and the relative humidity can be 80% or greater during our trip. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable and you're cool. Try to avoid dark colors. And the other thing is you want to make sure you have comfortable shoes with you. If possible, try to just bring 2 pairs, your main pair and 1 backup. You will be doing a lot of walking even on the ship, going from your cabin to the venues where we're hosting the program, and then as well as walking for your meals and shows in the evening and things like that. So you want to make sure that you're comfortable. They do allow shorts in the main dining room. They prefer that they be Bermuda shorts. Swimwear is not permitted in the main dining room at all. You can wear it at the buffet, but you do have to be covered up. And other than the pool areas, some type of shoe must be on your foot at all times. Another thing that you want to make sure you do, the cruises are actually much more casual now than they used to be, and Cuba itself is also a fairly casual country. So you want to make sure you leave your bling at home. This is only going to make you stand out even more as a tourist. So just keep to your basics. If you have a favorite pair of earrings, your watch, your wedding band, whatever, and you want to make sure that it's not going to be something expensive that you could potentially leave behind. Havana also is a city, so like any other city, while it is safe and the people are very welcoming, there will always be that one opportunist out there just waiting for you to happen down the street. For hats, a lot of folks are worried about sun exposure. If you're choosing to wear a hat, definitely make sure that it fits you snugly. Large floppy sun hats probably won't hold up for you either while we're in port or on the ship. It will always be windy, especially on the ship, but even in port while the sun is up, we have found that it's rather windy, and I tried a sun hat and it just didn't work. So make sure that you bring your sunscreen or your sun block to protect yourself, and if you have a lip balm that has an SPF, that will also help. Another handy thing is to pack Ziploc bags for your wet items, especially if you're going to be planning on utilizing the pool on the last day. It's helpful to have either a gallon size or a jumbo size Ziploc bag for multiple items just in case. It doesn't take up much room in your suitcase, and it's definitely a lifesaver. You want to make sure that you bring a notebook and a few pens if you're planning on taking notes. We will not be providing those for you on the ship. What we will be providing, though, are lanyards for everyone, so please don't buy them. Be tempted when you're checking in at the terminal. And we're also going to be providing 2 1-liter bottles of water for everyone to take into the port in Havana so that you have clean drinking water and you don't have to worry about. Make sure that you pack a small bottle of hand sanitizer or a few packages of wet ones wipes. You will definitely want to be using these on the day that we're in Havana, and they're always nice and handy to have just in case. Likewise, any over-the-counter medicines that you feel you may need if you're prone to sinus headaches or upset stomach, things like that, it's always handy to have travel sizes of those packed with you instead of having to pay the ship prices. And Band-Aids. A couple of Band-Aids can go a long way in an emergency when you need it. If you are in need of any medical equipment or devices while you're on your trip, I would hope that you had already talked with Jeff Lazo about making arrangements for things like extension cords or distilled water. If for some reason things have changed since you made your reservation, these items can actually be arranged for through your cabin steward. So when you arrive, make sure that your cabin steward knows everything that you need, and 9 times out of 10, they will definitely be able to provide it for you. One important thing is that you also need to know what absolutely not to bring with you. Number 1, drones. Make sure you leave all of your drones at home. You will not be permitted to carry these on the ship, and it will cause a significant delay in your boarding process. Passengers are also not permitted to bring anything on board that's considered a heat-producing device. Unfortunately, ladies, this means that you can't carry your own hairdryer, your flat irons. We're not allowed to have clothes irons on board or steamers. There are hair dryers in the cabins for you, and you are able to borrow a clothes iron from your cabin steward for a short period of time. Pack your valuables, of course your camera gear, and anything else that you may need during the day in a small carry-on bag. You are allowed 2 regular-sized pieces of luggage that will be checked and scanned to go onto the ship, and you're also allowed to carry on as much as you can carry, but you do need to be able to make sure you can lift these items up onto the conveyor belt at the port for the TSA inspection. So any medications that you may need, please make sure that you have them with you. And if you decide that you may want to change your clothes into something cooler, if you want to pop on a pair of shorts after you get onto the ship, make sure that's in your carry-on luggage as well. We can enter our cabins around 3 p.m. in the afternoon. However, it could take as long as 8 p.m. for the luggage to be delivered to you. And while we're not able to have the heat-producing items, please note that you can use USB hubs, and they do have both US and European outlets available in each cabin. The next thing I want to talk about is checking in at the terminal before you actually board the ship. Again, please keep in mind there will be congestion of traffic in the area, so a little bit of patience goes a long way. Once you are out of your ride and you have your luggage ready to go, your main baggage will actually be handed off to a porter, similar as you would a sky cap at the airport. They will take care of this luggage for you. Then you will enter the terminal, and once your location has been confirmed that you're in the right place, they will allow you to go forward through a TSA type of security checkpoint. No liquids. Make sure you finish your water or your coffee, whatever you have with you before you step through. You will also go through a metal detector. Then you will go into the terminal proper, where you will check in for your cruise. It's here where you will receive your Cuban travel visa from an NCL representative. They're very kind, and they actually paperclip it into your passport for you. Please make sure you keep track of this, because you're going to need it on Wednesday once we land in Havana. At this time, you will also receive your room key, which is very much like a hotel key. We will be having a hole punch available at the meet and greet, as well as lanyards for you. This is going to be your key to the kingdom once you're on the ship. This serves as your room key, and it's also how you pay for everything on board. The only place that allows cash is the casino. So if you decided that you wanted to have a specialty coffee or you wanted to have a specialty drink that's not included with your plan, this is how you would pay for it. Your room key will also serve as your form of identification for getting off and on the ship. This includes in Havana, as well as your final disembarkation on Friday. An absolute mandatory requirement for everyone on board the ship is attending the muster drill. This typically takes place 30 minutes prior to sail away, so we anticipate that being at 3:30. Your muster drill location is also noted on your room key, so you will be able to figure out where to go. There are lots of folks to direct people to the appropriate area, and this is very, very stringent. If you don't attend, they will come and find you. And during the muster drill itself, there's absolutely no talking that's tolerated or cell phone use. Please don't forget to have lunch. The Palace Dining Room, the Garden Cafe Buffet, and some of the other complimentary venues will be open and serving lunch for you, so make sure not to forget it. Lunch should be available until 3:45 p.m. Please make sure you don't miss the muster drill. That's at 3:30. We already talked about that. Following the muster drill, please join us in the Spinnaker Lounge, which is located on deck 12 of the ship, for our meet and greet. Everyone will be there. Come and meet your fellow attendees, our vendors, and the speakers. Have a drink, mingle, and just get acquainted with each other. As I mentioned, we'll be having lanyards available for everyone, and we'll have a hole punch for you. We're also going to be providing 2 1-liter bottles of water for everyone to take into Havana with them on Wednesday. If you decide that you would like additional bottles, either for the time that we're in Havana or any other time that we're on the ship, please keep in mind it's less expensive to pre-order them and have them delivered to your room. At the meet and greet, you will also be signing up for your photo walks with the various vendors and speakers. So keep that in mind, that this will be available all at the meet and greet from 4 to 6 p.m. in the Spinnaker Lounge on Monday afternoon. Following the meet and greet, everyone is free for the evening. Dinner service begins 5:30 in some venues, 6 p.m. in others, and they serve until 10. There's always music everywhere. Make sure that you have fun dancing, enjoy yourselves, and prepare for Tuesday. The next thing I want to talk about is making the most of your cabin. Yes, these are going to be a little bit smaller than your average hotel room, but I found that there was ample storage for everything while we were on board the cruise. You do have a good sized closet, and there are lots of hangers. We definitely didn't have a lack of hangers. And there was plenty of drawer space, and there's also space inside the bathroom for soiling your toiletries, etc. One thing that I found that was extremely helpful was an over-the-door shoe organizer. Make sure if you decide to go this route that you get the ones that are completely plastic, not the ones that are made of non-woven material. And by non-woven material, I'm referring to the type of fabric that's used for our recyclable grocery bags. Those are considered to be flammable products, and they will not allow them on the ship. So these are very inexpensive. This one I think I paid about $8 for, and they all come with their own hooks, so they slide right over the top. There are 4 hooks, and you can pack these in one of the pockets when you're not using it. This was extremely helpful. Like I mentioned, we were able to put things like hairbrushes, our sunglasses, skincare items, sunblock, Q-tips, you name it, and everything was easily and readily available. The pockets on the bottom were also a little bit larger so that we could stuff some shoes in there. Another thing that you might want to consider are toothbrush holders so that you don't have to worry about them being on a flat surface or being completely enclosed. We did try the ones that have suction cups, but we found them not to be consistent in their ability to stay suctioned. We prefer this kind, which as you can see in the picture, the base serves as a stand so your toothbrush can be drying in between and you don't have to worry about anyone messing with it. Since we're not allowed to have irons on the ship, I found the Downy wrinkle releaser to be quite effective. I did bring a lot of linen with me, and this worked really well, and plus you smell super fresh, like it just came out of the laundry. Make sure if you do this though, don't be tempted to overuse it. If you completely saturate your clothes, you are running at a risk of them not drying. What else do we have? Oh, some folks prefer to pack their Clorox disinfecting wipes for the flat surfaces. This does come in handy. They do make travel packages of it for doing the main desk, the vanity, and the bathrooms and the like. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you pick up a package. Try to use travel sizes whenever possible. Like a hotel, the ship will provide shampoo and conditioner for you, as well as soap. But if you must have your own, Walter and I really like these Go tubes. We find that one of the tubes holds more than enough shampoo for both of us to use for about a week and a half, believe it or not. Very effective, they sit flat, and they definitely close tightly. And if you're only doing a carry-on bag, they are 3 ounces, so they will match the TSA requirements. Another thing you'll find is each day, your cabin steward in the evenings for the next day will leave you a copy of what's called the Daily Planner. This is your go-to guide for everything that's happening on the ship. It includes the hours that your dining venues are open, all of the entertainment activities that are happening on the ship, where to find your guest services, hours of operations for the lounges and bars, and just anything special that's going on. Well, you'll find it in here. So you'll receive one of these each evening for the next day. For the conference schedule, please refer to the cruise portion on our website. Here you will see what is planned for each day and where you should be at what time. Everything is going to be more relaxed this year to adapt to our cruise environment, and we hope that you will all appreciate that. The evenings are free to engage with others, to network, to have your small breakout sessions, or just relax, enjoy the show, go and dance, have a drink, whatever you like to do. Please note that we will be announcing some extra activities on Tuesday evening to be taking place in the conference rooms on board the ship. Wednesday, our day in Havana. This is our big day. So we will be departing the ship as a group early in the morning prior to any of the other excursions with the ship. Our location is going to be determined by our NCL group representative. So I won't be finding that out until I board the ship on Monday, but I'll make sure that everybody knows about it at the meet and greet, and I will repeat it again on Tuesday. Please keep in mind, if you're not with our group at this time, you may be required to wait until all the other excursions have left and open disembarkation has been announced. That could be as late as 10:30 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So please don't miss this. Typically, the first group will disembark at 8 a.m. We want to make sure that we're in front of the line, so we should be meeting around 7:30 or 7:45. Please make sure you do have some breakfast before we leave, and please note you will not be able to carry any food or open beverages off the ship with you, only things that are hermetically sealed. Please make sure when you're packing your gear for the day that you do include your bottled water. Make sure that you bring some toilet tissue as well as facial tissues with you, and pack your hand sanitizer and your wet ones, wipes. You will be needing these if you use any public restroom, as they are not all provided, and some restrooms don't have sinks. Please keep in mind, Cuba is still a third world country. It's very safe, the people are warm, but we also want to make sure that you're protected. The water is absolutely not to our standard, and I would avoid drinking any tap water that's served to you. If you do go through the water that you're provided and you need extra, please make sure that you are consuming only bottled water that is still sealed. Once you step off the ship and you disembark, we will begin the immigration process into Cuba. At this time, they will collect your travel visa, stamp your passport, and they'll also take your picture. Once this process has been completed, you will go through another TSA checkpoint, so everything will be scanned and you'll go through a metal detector. Once you have stepped through this portion of the port, there's also a currency exchange available for you. This is very important. Cuba is a cash-only society. We will not be able to use any credit cards there. And our currency needs to be converted to what's called the convertible peso, or CUC. This is different from the national peso that the Havanans use for themselves, and we will not be able to have access to those. You could usually plan to spend approximately $100 if you're going to eat a meal. Make sure you have small bills as well to tip folks for portraits. You always want to make sure that you ask someone's permission as well before taking a portrait. If you're doing things on the fly with a mirrorless camera, as street photography, it's not such a big deal, but you definitely don't want to disrespect anyone, and make sure that their time and presence is honored. Keep in mind as well, You cannot convert your CUCs back to your US currency or whatever currency that you're using. So you want to make sure that you plan appropriately. If you do by any chance have euros or Canadian dollars as opposed to US dollars, I would recommend using those to convert, as the US dollar is subject to a 10% penalty and a 3% exchange fee. So rather than paying $1.13 per peso, you would only be paying $1.03 in more or less respects. So just keep that in mind if you have easy access or you have some leftover foreign currency from another trip. You might want to consider using that. If you were planning to go out to a show in the evening or just go out for some drinks and dancing, you might want to increase that limit another $50. So plan on having $150 with you to spend. And make sure too that no one gives you change back in the national peso, because that is not something that you will be able to use as a non-citizen. As far as what the day will hold, obviously you're going to be doing your photo walks this day. We have photo walks sponsored by B&H, Light in Motion, Pro Photo, and QT Albums. You'll be signing up for these at the meet and greet on Monday. So make sure that you know at that time what you're going to be doing, and the meeting places will also be determined. You also will have plenty of time to do things on your own. If you would like to have a map of the city, please make sure that you either download an offline version, because you will not have cell phone service on the island, or print something out for yourself that you can easily refer to make sure that you're hitting a museum that you want. If you want to hit the Hemingway hot spots, if you want to go to the Halal neighborhood to view the Afro-Cuban dancing, things of this nature, make sure you have everything planned out in advance so that you know where you're going. And naturally, instead of walking is great, but you do have options of taking the classic American cars. Make sure you negotiate those prices in advance, and they will usually take US currency as well. And there are lots of pedicabs, which are fun because those can go in and out all of the side streets and get to a lot of places that a car may not be able to. You also will always have the availability to eat your meals on the ship if you choose not to eat them on the island and have that experience. That, of course, is up to you. You will have on and off privileges after that first initial immigration process, and usually it just amounts to showing your passport. They don't even, re-verify for the stamp, etc. They're so used to having people coming and going, they won't question you. Some folks have asked me about bug repellent. I can say that especially during the daylight hours, but even into the evening, there is enough wind to keep the bugs at bay. But should you be concerned, I don't know that I would go as far as purchasing any clothing that has bug repellent put into it, and you may definitely find that it's a little bit too warm to use anything spray on. I actually purchased these bracelets. They were very inexpensive. I believe they were about $3 to $5 a piece, and they are reusable. They're also adjustable. Their main component is citronella, so it will have that scent. And I found it very easy just to wear this around my ankle so that it was over my sock and not actually touching my skin. So that definitely worked for us. A couple of don'ts that you definitely want to avoid while you're in the city. Number one is it is illegal to take pictures of any military or law enforcement personnel. So please don't even try. If they catch you, you're going to be in big trouble. This would also not be the day to opt to wear your camouflage or any olive green. Please try to stick to lighter colors so that no one is confusing you or thinking that you might be mocking any of their law enforcement or military personnel. One thing that's considered to be extremely rude to the point of monstrosity in Cuba is to blow your nose in public. So if you find that you need to relieve yourself that way, please excuse yourself. At least face the wall if you're on the street, go to a restroom or something of that nature. Keep in mind, again, Havana is a very relaxed city, and you may find that things are much more slow moving than what you're used to, but that's all part of the experience. It allows you to slow down and see things that you may otherwise have missed. Another thing Havana obviously is very famous for is its coffee, the Cuban cigars, and of course, the rum. There are limitations which you will learn about on board as far as what each person can bring back. And keep in mind that when you come back on board the ship, they will be collecting the rum only. You can keep your coffee and your cigars and any other small souvenirs that you may find. You will be given a receipt for the holding of the rum, and this will actually be delivered to your room after 7 p.m. on the last night while we're on the ship, so you can pack it in your luggage and do whatever you need to that way. Having said that, I think I've shared everything that I could think of off the top of my head. I hope that you find it helpful, but please feel free to email me at angela@mysticseminars.com for any other questions you may have. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Really looking forward to meeting all of you on the 15th. I can't believe it's just around the corner, and I know it's going to be great. Everyone usually enjoys Havana for multiple different reasons. There are so many things to see. It's so photogenic, and it's definitely on the bucket list of most photographers. Looking forward again, like I mentioned, I hope that all is well with you. We'll provide some extra links for you in this email where you received the link for this video. And again, any questions, send them on over. See you soon.